Hi, everyone. This is Shannon Port, and I'm just going to get chat set up here. Welcome to the Goddess Report. We are on live. It's Friday. It's Friday, March 3rd, and I'm coming on a lot earlier today. So I just posted this on Facebook, and we'll see how this time is. It is 12 noon Eastern Standard Time on Friday. And so this is the Goddess Report. We've been meeting every week. I think this is our 8th week in a row. And today we're meeting for the Virgo Full Moon happening on March 7th, 2023. And we will be going into the archetypal wisdom of Virgo and looking at all of the I call it a Divine Feminine Energy update, and it's kind of a transmission as well. We'll be looking at the archetypal influences that are governing the planet at this time. If you haven't seen the Venus codes, this was the video that we did last week on the Goddess Report, and it's really, really rich and deep with Venus wisdom. And Venus in the month of March has been making very strong contacts. She has just met with Jupiter, Chiron, Vesta, and is now moving up to Eris and Juno. And then she will square Pluto in Capricorn at the last degree, at the 29th degree. And that's a really, really powerful degree. And she'll be squaring Pluto right before she enters her own sign, Taurus. And then once she enters Taurus, this is all the details of this are in last week's video. Once she enters Taurus, she will conjunct the dragon's head, the north node, and then she will conjunct Uranus in Taurus. And so it's a big sweeping haul that she's making before she goes retrograde this summer in the sign Leo, and before the North Node moves from Taurus into Aries, and that's going to be a big shift in energy on this planet. And so that's why I wanted to really focus on the alchemy that she's doing in the sign Aries, the sign of the Emperor, the sign of I am, the sign of the warrior, the warrioress, the sign of our sovereignty. And just take a look at how this works, how this feminine energy is doing this kind of deep, deep, powerful work for sovereignty before she does her regeneration work in the sign of Leo. And so I'm really excited about this report today. It looks like there's a few people on. I'm glad. Okay, let me just check the chat. Gosh. Feel free to say hi and let me know where you're tuning in from. It doesn't really show where I can, I'm not sure what's going on. It doesn't show where I can type here. So I hope this isn't the same thing that happened last week. I will just, oh, there you are. Okay, got it. Yay. Show activity. Got it. Okay. Moderate. Okay. Okay. It's saying, I'm sorry. Moderation helps everyone feel safe. Okay. Choose who can. Okay, there we are. For some reason, it wanted me to have a moderator. Okay. Nice to see you, Danielle, Emily, Philip, Ben. Oh, I wonder where you got the notification. Did you get it on YouTube or did you see it on Facebook? So good to have you. Let me know where you're tuning in from. All right, so the Goddess Report, I just wanted to say this. I really had this strong feeling today that the Goddess Report, it's on Fridays, it's on the day of Venus, and it's really meant, this is our 8th Friday in a row, it's really meant to be a kickoff into your weekend. I moved it up a little bit earlier. You can let me know if you like the later time or the earlier time. I know those people in New Zealand and Australia it's very, very early for you as opposed to when we do it later here. But I feel like it will catch the algorithm a little stronger before the weekend. And I want this to be like a goddess happy hour. And so if you're on the west coast of the United States, it's your morning coffee. If you're in Europe, it's kind of like happy hour time before you start your weekend, and have it just be an infusion and a transmission of divine feminine energy that takes you. Every weekend is kind of like a death of the week and then a regeneration and a rebirth. And so this is our kickoff. It's really meant to be celebratory to go into the weekend. So I welcome you, and I'm so happy to have you again at Shannon Port, and we're working here with the Divine Feminine Wisdom. So In this goddess report, we will be looking at the full moon in Virgo and the energetic and astrological events for March 2023, including, we'll just barely touch on because we'll do an event for equinox, but we have the Aries equinox, spring equinox in the north, which is a really, really power point for starting the astrological new year. And then we have the Aries new moon right at the equinox within 24 hours. I wanted to talk about reprogramming the subconscious mind, which was really what the whole Art of the Feminine platform was founded on when I first started coaching way, way back. That we are given this opportunity to become conscious of the archetypal coding. We call them the Divine Feminine Archetypes that hold power and hold keys for our own activation of our subconscious, which is really our God self or our goddess self. I have something really powerful I want to say before we start and look at the planets. This is, I saw this somewhere and it was just a reminder. It was in my notes and I was like, this is perfect for the Virgo full moon, which is really about pristine vision, critical thinking, separating what we don't want from what we want so we can get really, really clear with it. So, the subconscious mind, Virgo is to help us see clearly and discern and discriminate. It's to help us have the vision of what is true for ourselves. And so Virgo is also considered to be the inward focus on I am, so that we tune into our true inner self, our inner teacher, as the goddess and the higher light, to give us guidance into how to use our creative power the most effectively and the most wisely, and how to kind of discern the riffraff or the things that are just pulling at us, because in this underworld, every time we walk into a field, there's a million things wanting our attention. And the Virgo energy is like straight line to what you want. And it's a straight line by looking inward. And so the subconscious mind believes, this is really, really powerful. The subconscious mind believes that everything you feel and say is about you. So everything you think, everything you speak, the subconscious mind reads it as you talking about yourself. And this is really, really going into the high wisdom. We often hear in metaphysical teachings and mystical spiritual teachings that there's one self, there's one being. And the male lineages really focus on that inward understanding of self. The Advaita, Vedanta teachings, the Power of Now teachings, all of the teachings that focus on, I believe it's Brahman, the one self. And even, the Christos teachings, the do unto others as you would want them to do unto yourself, and the Buddha teaching, all of the true teachings tell us that, treat other people as you want to be treated. Virgo and Pisces as an axis tells us that your subconscious mind is the one self and only processes what you do as it being done to you. So let me just finish what I have here and then we'll look into it deeper. The subconscious mind only knows oneself. She's the mother. All are one being. She's the mother because she's the counterpart to the absolute and the unseen. All that's created is the bride of the absolute. And so we have, I'm forgetting the name now, but the teachings are, we have the absolute self and we have the active self, the Maya self, the dance of creation. And so this axis of Virgo and Pisces really teaches us about this energy. All are one being. Whatever we believe about another, the subconscious mind thinks you are talking about yourself. Everything we do to the other, we do to ourselves. This is the Christ teaching. So, what that means, because obviously we also have to learn to discriminate and understand our own boundaries, where we end and where the other begins. Scorpio teaches us how to merge. The eighth house is about how to merge with the other and lose ourselves. But how do we honor the one self and this teaching while at the same time maintaining the integrity, the clarification, the empowerment, the unfoldment of the individual? The I am. There's I am that I am. I am the greater I am that I am, the personality. I am that I am is the I am God self with the offspring of the I am person. And there's always a link. We are never, and that's our subconscious mind, the greater God self, which is also the mirror of our personal self, because the subconscious mind also holds all the personal baggage and goodies that we have created on the karmic wheel. We're filling up our own subconscious mind with our own coding. And so when we reprogram our subconscious mind, we transmute by simply calling our creative power into the present moment. And there's other ways to do it too, through meditation that requires a longer concentration and focus. Um, in I had a really big week in my mentorship this week, and I'll just share one thing we talked about that was really powerful. But it really ties in with this, that we forgive, which is Pisces. We surrender and forgive. We focus, and we have fertility. We create. So to be in touch with our I am, we forgive what we don't want. That's Virgo, discerning, let it go. That's Virgo and Pisces working together on that axis. Virgo has the crystal clear, pristine seeing, and Pisces knows that in order to summon up that vortex of power in the womb, you've got to let go and only conceive with the seed that you want in that moment. You can't, you get, conception happens with one state, with one seed of consciousness. And so we choose what we want. And this is the work that we do at Art of the Feminine. And then we give birth to that state. So let's just also go back to talking about, and then we'll look at the planets and why it's so important that that Venus has gone through the sign of I am. Aries is the active sign of I am. Virgo is more the looking inward and discerning. Aries is taking our fire and our on the road and saying, I'm the warrior, I'm the warrioress. So when we have responses towards other people, this is so important at this time, because Saturn is entering Pisces at the full moon in Virgo. And so this is very big. Saturn will be bringing the karmic lessons into Pisces. We've been talking in the past 7 videos all about the Piscean energy, the Neptune energy, the mother deep. Saturn's going to clean it out and bring everything that needs to be seen. The way we've used our creative power will be rising into the surface. We're going to get the opportunity collectively to see how we've gone into delusions or conspiracies, or how we've just been tied ourselves into the underworld, the terrors of the underworld, rather than using that as the creative cauldron that it is. Virgo is about teaching us how to use it, how to discern, discriminate by looking within. So in terms of I just want to talk about this, and then we'll look at the planets. So in this day and age, we've come to such a place in the world with social media that there's so much of a cavalier attitude about just being able to talk, just being able to be aggressive, and that's Aries energy, and just like throw things out at people, and the algorithms actually now support that. There's many reports that are coming out showing that humanity has become addicted to conflict and rage. just notice when you tune in, like when you go on, let's say, Instagram or a YouTube, are you looking for things that are going to really fire you up and really like trigger that response of, shock and, oh, what's going on? Like, are you looking to be more and more? It's addictive. We actually get addicted to the pain and rage to help medicate our inner pain and rage. And so I know I've had this happen where, there's just so much, and all you have to do is turn on the news and it's like it knocks you right out of it. It's like medicating. It takes you into a conflict outside yourself to help kind of like even balance things out sometimes if you've been sitting with something. But I pick up on how it is once you take a step back and you can see what's happening. We're going to have to, as goddess holders and initiates, we have to learn the technology, what we call the technology of the goddess. So I'm just going to read this, and then I'll look down and say hello, and then we'll look at what's happening at the full moon. Huge that Saturn's entering Pisces. The past few videos we have spoken of this, especially archetypes of 2023, which is up, and when we talked about the esoteric feminine principle of forgiveness. So Virgo is clear, practical, critical thinking, and inward seeing, and Pisces is the deep feminine power of the subconscious mind. So that's why we're talking about reprogramming that. So not because we have shame about it, but so we can use it. That's our God-given divine mother power within us. This dance is everything. The Virgin and the Christ. It's huge. The now I am. Okay, when we say I am in the seven directions, that's what we're calling forth. I just wanted to say that. Okay, I'm going to look down and say hi, and then we'll go into what's actually happening at the full moon on Tuesday. All right. Azra on Facebook, thank you for telling me. Azra, angel hugs to all of you. Yes, you are another me. It's true when we say namaste, it's more true than we oftentimes realize. And so this is the reason we're talking about this, is how to use it for power. Like it doesn't mean you have to dismiss and over and deny anything. It just means that we're savvy and sophisticated, and we're artists about how we work. Let's see if we could just think of an example. So what we wish for others, we're really wishing for ourselves. So if you're wishing, this is I've talked about this a lot in videos. If you're saying, I really hope they get their justice, I really hope divine justice comes and this happens to them, be sure that you too want divine justice, because if you call it down on someone else, you're also saying, I'm ready for it too. And so that's why judgment brings judgment to ourselves too. And sometimes we're meant to do that. That's how we mirror, because we mirror with our own underworld. So um like let's think of things like, how it gets so out of hand, like in the news and with politics, and then it just snowballs. It picks up so much momentum, it's hard to rein it back in. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable to live this way, and that's what even a lot of the podcasters are now saying. There was a few years way back when I used to kind of check in with podcasts, and I had to pull back from all of that myself, just because I could see that it's just nonstop. What's going on? The craziest thing that's happening now, and that can be as programming as being aware of what's happening. If it's something that's negative, it really can. The Virgo full moon is saying, respect your space, honor your space, take care of it like you would a newborn baby. You think of a newborn, you want it to be clean, fed, loved, in a protective space. Like that is the wealth that you carry inside you. So when you really want to create something, take care of that space. Decide what you're going to let in. When it's time to take a peek, say, okay, I need to check in. I need to check in. And then use your discernment and say, okay, what's going on? How does that apply to the metaphysical teachings? How can I use it so that because if you can't be the best you, there's no point. Do you know what I mean? If we're just cheering other people on and saying, "Oh, go, you're doing it. These people are taking down these people and these people." But if I've given all my power to that, it's a lifetime that could be just not as potent as possible. We each have to take responsibility for our own imagination, our own creative power. And we talk a lot about the womb, our own creative womb. So I'm just going to see if any other example comes. Yeah. Okay. So what to do when there are really things that happen in our life. There are triggers, there is disrespect, there are people that come into our field that do not mean to do us good, or that just want to usurp our, whether it's our energy, our work, our love. And it's more of a, I want to take. I want to take it. I want to be around you. I see you, but I want it. It's we call we have a lot of different names we're working with right now in the mentorship I'm doing, but it is an energy that is taking. And when we're in that state, we're only making ourselves available for that. There's a way that we can honor other people. Whenever we're appreciative of someone's energy or someone's love or someone's words or what they're doing, we want to give. It's the law of give to that, bring light to that thing, because then when it's your turn, light will come back to you. But we live in this each man and each woman for themselves world. And I've heard that more. I heard that from my tax accountant recently. He was like, more than anything, what has happened is that people are out for themselves. It's things have changed in the past few years. And then he said this to me, I think it was last summer, but I had noticed a lot of people are saying that it's a dog eat dog world. We don't want to choose to live that way, because then we all go down. We all go down that way. We have to be the ones to regenerate it and turn it back into the positivity. And social media in a way has taught us how to be takers rather than givers. It's about a balance, but we have to recognize the signature of our own energy when we use our vision. Is my energy taking, or is it observing, bowing, giving, and then receiving? And that's the same with love relationships. And when that's why love relationships are so powerful. They teach us that balance. Or taking care of another being, when we each surrender and give to another being, it teaches us that law of reciprocity, how to give and take, and how they're really the same thing, giving and taking, when we're in that alignment. Yeah, we just we have to find the sweet spot right now, because that will be the resurrection. That's the truth, and that's the resurrection of Pisces. Um, that is wonderful. Appreciate, find the positive in each situation. So you invite that for yourself. Yeah, that's how we are mirroring with each other. Don't be afraid to give. Don't feel like you're giving everything away. There's yeah, I'm sure more will come in when we look at the planets. I'm just going to take, you're on the ball. Thanks so much. Feeling every word. The divine feminine path requires laser focus at the moment. Yes. Thank you, Trisha. Yes. And Trisha is an amazing teacher. So uninteresting, Shannon. I slipped into the underworld through media, the underground this week, and it just took my power, and I have to redirect. Once you can see it, clarity and boundaries while forgiving. Yes. Once you can see it, like I recently saw a new level, and how you can heal it as just forgive it. Because even also, if you're seeing it, it's because you recognize that you've taken part in it on some level. We're all so interconnected. And that's why the Christ teachings were genuinely forgiveness. It's an esoteric feminine principle to forgive. It's to let go of the baggage and call forth the power. And if there's a lesson around it, then if you wish for all lessons to come in, they will come in. But it's true. Sometimes we curse other people or we judge harshly and it comes right back. And then we feel attacked. And then we get into that mental craze. All right. So let's look at the energy that's happening at the Virgo full moon and see what comes through. We have March is a beautiful month. It's the month of equinox. And I am is the power that arises from the deep mother deep, and gives birth to the Christ force. I had that written down. So Saturn will be entering the sign Pisces at 0 degrees. I also want to mention that I forgot to mention this in last week's video when we did the Venus codes, which I really recommend if you haven't seen it, that Venus will square Pluto at Pluto will be at 29 degrees, the last degree of Capricorn, which is that initiation degree. And so when she is at 29 degrees Aries, she'll square Pluto right before she steps into her sign. It's kind of like a handshake saying, okay. I mean, they're both like killing it. They're like saying, she's like saying love. Pluto's like saying death and rebirth, and they're doing it together because she's just gone through Aries and hit all these Eris and Juno and Vesta and Chiron, the wounded healer. So, and was trine with Lilith and Leo. So it's like a handshake before she goes into her sign, and then she's going to clean house in Taurus. She's going to meet with the North Node. It's the divine feminine, high matriarch meeting with the dragon's head, saying, "What's going to happen going forward when I retrograde in Leo? What are we going to bring in?" And then she's going to touch Uranus, which has been blasting planet Earth for a few years now, and those are important keys to activate in yourself to say, how am I going to align with the Venusian with these energies? It's big. It's death and rebirth when she squares Pluto. So of love and the power of the heart. So the full moon will be at 16 degrees Virgo. The sun will be at 16 degrees Pisces. And we have seen 16 degrees at the moons over and over. I can't remember if this is the third or the fourth. And if anybody knows, feel free to say it. But with 16 is the tower. And so it's making an imprint of the higher Holy Spirit energy. But I just want to say this. It has a lot to do with Virgo energy, because Virgo energy, looking inward and crystallizing the subconscious realms, brings in the Holy Spirit. It brings in the lightning of the Divine Mother. And so it's connected. Mercury will be in Pisces at 7 degrees, not exactly opposite or conjunct the not opposite the moon and conjunct the sun, but pretty close. Neptune will be the ruler of Pisces, will be in Pisces at 24 degrees. Aries will be Vesta, Chiron, Venus, Jupiter, Eris, and Juno. So there's a lot of Aries energy kind of, it's stacking up before the North Node moves from the sign Taurus and Earth sign into the cardinal fire sign of Aries. So the North Node is the dragon's head. It's our true north, and it's the direction we're going collectively. Once it hits Aries, we talked about this last week a lot. Aries, the sign of war, the sign of the warrior, the sign of the emperor and the patriarchal rule, the sign of I am, the sign of the fire of spirit hitting this planet, which we will be celebrating at the spring equinox. So all of these things are tying together. A lot of energy in Aries. The North Node's still in Taurus until July, and Uranus in Taurus at 15 degrees. Mars will be in Gemini at 21, true Lilith in Leo at 6, and the Pluto will be in Capricorn. So let's talk about Virgo as the 6th house. So Virgo as an archetype is the house of our health. It's the house of our daily routine. Virgo is the house of organization and medicine, health. So it just shows us right there that health requires organization. It requires an organized vessel. And so Virgo is the 6th house, shows us that if we want to have daily success, we have to have a little structure. We have to know the things that we engage with daily. That's what keeps us sane in the world. Having a routine, having something that we know. We've been talking a lot about this in mentorship. We know that this thing will ground us when things get rocky or when the matrix glitches big time. Have those things that you go right to and they do it for you immediately. I work with meditation, with archetypes, and it works. So have your daily routine. take care of your health. Make sure to Virgo is an earth sign. It's ruled by Mercury because and it's the mind that looks inward to the subconscious to clean it. And that also takes care of our health because our health is largely governed by this unseen power in the subconscious. Now, um, oh, I know the other thing I want to talk about that is so powerful. Okay, I'm going to say that. Okay, speaking of the subconscious mind, I wanted to talk a little bit about mirror neurons. And so, this is the other thing I wanted to say about how we treat others is how we treat ourselves. It's also true, and I just recently was listening to it was very brief, but I was listening to a neuroscientist and also I believe it was a neuroscientist, but was talking about how we process and when we look at something and take it in, our subconscious mind experiences that as it happening to us. So this is right in alignment with what we're talking about. If I take something in, and especially if my filters aren't on, my discernment of Virgo is not on. This is big with children because children right now on the social media and on the apps that are just getting these streams of ideas, and that's the mother energy, which is really with Virgo as the Virgin Mary, and is about that purity and saying, no, we have to have a boundary with what we take in. That is this daily sixth house. So when we watch something and we're unconscious, we process it in our subconscious mind below the surface of our awareness as having taken part in it. Now, art and theater, which are partly ruled Pisces has a strong connection to the creative imagination and film and writing. Neptune is all about the creative imagination, poetry, those things that open portals. But when so watching art is powerful. Art is a really powerful way for us to have the catharsis and to learn without having to experience it ourselves. So art is a very feminine expression of the goddess. That's why I named my first big platform Art of the Feminine. The whole platform is about this. That art is how we process and how we learn. So if you watch a really good film, or you go see theater, or you go to the Met and you take in some of the amazing sculptures or art and paintings, your heart can just expand and download that archetypal stream without having to live it. And so that's why it's important for us to document both our failures and our successes. We don't want to erase any of it because we learn from it. And that was kind of a movement that we should take down this and take down this. We have to be careful. We are meant to have art that shows our disasters and our failures and our human follies, because when it's in art, we look at it and we're like, oh, wow, we feel that deep as human beings. This is this access. However, if we consume, that's Pisces, as we've been talking a lot about addiction, over medicating, over drenched in the shadow forces. We talked a lot about the shadow feminine. We're destroying our power because we're actually becoming debilitated in our own. We process that as us being the victim, and it activates rage, trauma, blame, attack. You've heard we've talked a lot about this, and I say this with a lot of love because I'm an empath as well, a deep empath. This work requires that, but if we're empaths but we haven't sort of learned this, we kind of feel everything and think it's happening to us, and then we don't have a lot of power. And you hear a lot of empaths say that. I walk in a space and I take on everything. In fact, we were just talking about this yesterday. We have to be able to discern and see it as archetypes and learning, and know that's where we have to know where the other person is, where we end and they begin, so we don't take it on. When we're super powerful, we can bring it in, process it, and give out wisdom. And that's what any real healer or mentor or teacher or writer or artist does. As an artist, as an actor, when you're on stage with someone, you learn how to be somebody else because you can feel it. You know what it feels like to be that person, and that's art. So this is huge. So let's just think about that. So what are you consuming? When if you watch like a kind of news where you see something over and over and over, yeah, there's times when we need to know what's going on for sure. But if you're hearing this fear algorithm over and over and over, you're depleting your own technology, and that becomes a problem. The other thing is that we can't really be in relationships if we see ourselves as victims. And I say this with a lot of love too, because I've had to go through a lot of being literally being a victim in order to come into my full power. But when we interact with people, we have to have a certain amount of responsibility for our own space, because if we carry that unhealed wound, eventually the person we're with will become the target of that anger or that trauma or that rage, because the wound is always looking, whose fault is it? Who is to blame? I want answers. And so oftentimes, if you've ever been in a relationship that was hard, you know that it gets blurry, like, what am I really upset about? Am I upset at this person, or is it something that I carry? And oftentimes we mirror what we carry. All of this has to do with what we're talking about. So the reason we want to become empowered is so that we can say, yeah, I have some deep wounds, and there's been some things that I've had to experience in this lifetime, but they're here to create my power. And as I create my power, then I get to live as my best self, because then I get to make art, I get to share it with other people, I get to help other people, I get to be with my tribe and say, "Hey, it's okay. Like, this is what the human journey is about." Obviously, there's more things we could say about that, but it's really important to be careful what you consume. Be If you're a parent, be careful what your kids consume. Kids these days, I think there's only certain ways I can put it into words right here, but there's a lot happening with the younger generation that has been raised on watching content from other people over and over, hours at a time. In fact, I believe one of the apps just put, excuse me, a limit on the time that people under a certain age can be on it, because all the studies now they're undeniable that it's not a healthy thing to consume too much, especially before we have the discernment of Virgo fully established in our Virgo is partly our inner mother. And so I'm going to look down and see what anyone has to say. Our imagination is also very powerful here. If we imagine something, it happens to us, the same neurons fire at a slightly lower frequency. Yes, exactly. That's what, yes. Um, After the live stream and this gets posted, we can leave a message. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Please come back always, and I love your messages, and I love, yeah, love that. And it's at a point right now where there's enough, there's enough time where I can look at everything individually. Um, if something's really, really deep, I have to have a boundary about what I can talk about publicly. But if it's just a yeah. Okay. So, you are another me. Hello from Destin, Florida. Yeah, where is everyone? Listen, and the positive thing to say about this, hello from London. Ah, so nice to see you. I recognize you from Instagram. I know your picture on Instagram. Um, Natalie, hello from Qatar, Sedona, Chicago. St. Pete, Florida. Nice. I didn't know you were in Florida, or maybe I did, but it's been a while. YouTube slow at posting as usual. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So, yeah. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else we should bring in. We'll do I am. Let's do I am in the seven directions, because it's just a reminder of of who we really are. Let's call forth our I am. We do the high priestess ritual. I've been wearing blue all week because we're working with the high priestess ritual in my Light Body Woman mentorship. It's a really profound ritual. Okay. So, all right. After we've been talking about I am, When we say I am goddess, and there's a whole meditation series on the Shannon Port YouTube channel, and make sure to subscribe and hit the bell if you haven't, because the content is really, really always, I believe it's quite profound. If it's meant to speak to you, it's quite deep. Um, this is the I am goddess activation. It's the goddess giving birth to the sun, or what we call the solar feminine here, into the auric field to bring into sacred union our higher self with our individual personality. I am that I am. It's in all traditions, these words, I am that I am. If anything, this is a reminder that we have an inner divine mother and an inner power that is always here, always here, right now. Not later, but right now. And it's the most profound savior of our creative self and our heart. All of the work we do in the divine feminine, the creativity and the dance we do with life, that starts right here. Without this understanding, it's all coming from a lower octave. And we talked about that in a couple videos ago. But from here, where I see you as myself, where I understand that what I do unto others, I'm doing to my own self, it just raises the bar for everything. And this is also how we activate Venus and how we bring her in so she can do what she's designed to do. So now just seeing the light of I am in your field in each direction, we're activating the Virgo full moon, the power of I am. That we may have harness the power and energy of Pisces as Saturn is entering Pisces. May it be a good transit for us. If it's a good transit, that means Saturn will give us the ability to use the great power of the Divine Mother, what we call the Mother Deep. And so repeating after me, I am before me. I am behind me. I am at my left. I am at my right. I am above me. I am below me. I am unto me. And please take a deep breath in, all the way in, and then hold for a moment and see the sun ablaze in your heart, the power of I am in sacred union with your personal expression of your God self. Exhaling it all out. I am, I am, I know I am. I am, I am, I know I am. May we activate the Virgo full moon in its pristine vision, in its critical thinking, and its ability to reprogram our subconscious feminine mind, to reclaim I think the last video we called Reclaiming the Divine Feminine Dimension. So the I am, we kind of we extend it and make it into a real ritual, but to just say it very softly and quietly for yourself and for the person that you're with can always activate the higher self in any situation. And you're not overriding anyone's sovereignty when you do it. You're just calling forth as the higher self to work with the higher self of the other person. And so it's just a gentle I am before me, I'm behind me, at my left, my right, above me, below me, and unto me. And then you see the person, if you have to have something really important, or if you're working with a partner or a child. I've done this for my son every day of his life. Every single day that he ever walked out the door to school, I think I've shared this. I am around him as his mother. There is a cord that goes back to me because I've given birth to him. And so when the mother prays for the child, it's really, really powerful. But then you just see the person, I am before you, behind you, at your left, your right, above you, below you, and unto you. And it can just raise the level of communication. It's quite simple. I'm reminded in doing this that we haven't gone into the light body Stargate in a while. We won't do it today, but we're definitely going to do a really big spring equinox live stream. So we'll be doing that like either on the day of, or the light equinox falls on the 20th. I think it's a Monday. And then the next day is the Aries new moon, which is going to be big. That's a big energy. So we'll go live like maybe on the day for that. And we'll do the Stargate to activate the new year. I think that's good. I think we're good for now. We said a lot of things. Just remember, now obviously you can always, the opposite of everything is true, but just use it. What I'm thinking or wishing for another. There's another way, we've talked about this before. Wish for others that they have what their heart desires, if it's healthy. So that's the little catch. But the way to ease any like friction or competition or judgment with other people is that you claim what is truly yours: your power, your light, your wealth, your creativity, your love, your space. And you wish for the other, even your enemies. That's that Christ saying, love your enemies more. Wish for them that they have what they're meant to have in this lifetime. And if they want something good, wish that they have that good thing. And then you kind of detach. That's how you separate. That's that Virgo separating the wheat from the chaff. You unentangle yourself. You demagnetize your enemies. Like if there are enemies or whatever it is you feel is your attacker, you demagnetize that and you magnetize your own heart so that what is meant to be in your field will be in your field. This is a really deep live stream, just to say, if you're picking up on it, the things being said are very deep. And this is the intention of the goddess report, that we like just soak in the wisdom before the weekend, and that it sends you off into the weekend with a little more love than you might have had. And so wish for others, forgive them, wish that they have the best, and wish that we all come together in a new organization. That's the new earth that we're talking about. And so I just thank you endlessly with huge goddess blessings, lots and lots of love. I will take one last look and see if there's anything else. So good to see you. And I'm always so honored. I see someone from South Africa, Slovenia. Um, so nice to see you from Slovenia. I was just thinking of somebody from Slovenia that I know. Okay, any how-to tips? Well, the how-to tips are, oh, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you, Tennille, in a long time. It's good to see you. Yeah, the tips, we just said them. They're in the video. Forgive, wish for others, and then get busy. Forgive, focus, and be fertile. Forgiveness, focus, fertility. Those are the 3 F's that will, whenever you're feeling off track, forgive. Make sure you demagnetize whatever's coming in. Get focused on your own work, your own love, your own life. That's Virgo, your daily routine. And be fertile. Give birth to what you're here to give birth to. And I think that's it. I think we'll leave it there. So great to see everyone. Thank you so much. We'll be back. I've been doing every week, and part of me thought maybe I'm not giving the videos enough space to be shared, but something tells me to keep coming on every week, that it's meant to be. So I mean, there was a chance I was going to do every other week, but I think I'll be back next Friday. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be back next next Friday. If not, for sure the next Friday. All right. Thank you so much. Wishing everyone a beautiful, beautiful full moon in Virgo. Namaste. I bow to the light in you. You are me, and I am you. Thank you.